were miracles. You see, Jesus said, if you don't believe me for the words I speak, believe me for the miracles I do. And it is amazing what miracles have been done today. The book I usually have, Professor Craig Keener, look him up. I've got a website, I've got his videos there. He recounts the modern miracles that are taking place. There are countries around the world where the church is growing massively. Nepal, India, China. And much of that growth is because they have witnessed miracles. And you must remember that people in Nepal and India and China, to become a Christian is not a passport to success. It is a recipe for persecution. You may not realize it today that 80% of persecution for religion is against Christians. The government report says 260 million Christians are suffering severe persecution. Thousands are dying every year. They must have a reason to believe the gospel is true when it costs them their jobs, costs them their freedom, and can cost them their lives. Their testimony is worth listening to. And one of the reasons is miracles. That's what made me interested in Christianity in the first place. I was brought up, like most people in this country, not believing there was a God. When I went to university, I met Christians for the first time. And I heard them talk about miracles as if they were real things. And I knew enough that if there are miracles, there's a God. The third reason why we can believe that the gospel is true is creation. This whole world shouts there's a God. Do you realize that in the last 20 years there's been so much scientific evidence for design in the genetic code of every living organism, like these trees, like yourself, that there are now 1,200 scientists who signed a website, Descent from Darwin, and they say the level of biological complexity is too great for Darwin's theory of evolution to be true. Do not place your eternal future on a belief that evolution is true. Can I suggest to you, eternity is too big an issue to place in such a fragile theory that is, can I say, I've studied this for 40 years. I've come to the conclusion evolution is probably one of the daftest theories that's ever come up. And I don't say that in any sort of hubristic sense of, oh, that's what I believe. Just think about it for a second. Evolution says that mutations creates design. Well, it never creates design. Mutations destroys design. Evolution says time allows you to have anything impossible. Rubbish. Time destroys design. We know from the laws of physics, everything decays over time, including the genetic code. And I'll give you one last piece of evidence. My dinosaur over here. The dinosaur over here is because they've discovered soft tissue in fossils, including dinosaur fossils. Soft tissue only lasts thousands of years. Professor Steve Taylor from Liverpool University has also tested them for carbon-14. Carbon-14 only lasts thousands of years. If the fossils are only thousands of years old, so are the rocks. In the website that I've created, I've put together 40 years of research on this subject. What we are seeing in the fossils is not evidence for evolution. It's evidence for a worldwide flood. If God judged the world once because of sin, we know from Jesus that when he returns, he will judge the world. Are you ready to face eternity? Now is the day of salvation. Today, if you hear God's voice, do not